Every single member of this party has the ability to make their enemies
or teammates
bleed. How far can we get? Is this a good idea? And why can't I make the books bleed? Only time will tell. In the Darkest Dungeon 2. We start off in the R-rated version of the Jungle Book, also known as when we run into
the worst kind of parasite. Opportunists.
These enemies are impervious, which means they're very resistant to stuns. However, this advantage is quickly countered by my party's complete lack of any abilities that stun. Harvest is going to be our most used weapon of nasty blooding, because it spreads the love amongst multiple enemies and sets our teammate up for some spicy combos. Now that the odds have been evened, we finish redistributing their blood supply to anywhere outside of their bodies and continue our adventure. After making some progress, we find the Forgotten Outpost, which upon further inspection is filled with the skeletons in the closet of popular Minecraft YouTubers. I was worried that this fight would take too many resources, so I avoided this fight harder than I avoid my responsibilities while making this video. Turns out I didn't have to worry about supplies because we hit this academics cache and just get loaded. We're about halfway through the tangle when we come upon the echoes of the past. I figure it's about time for the occultist to get an ability that makes someone other than his teammates bleed. So I choose to advance his story, and what do you know? We must fight our inner, angels? Turns out our guy has the moral compass of someone who got exposed to 4chan too early. With this story bit done, we get a new ability. Yay! Bleeds for everyone. We run into a bandit who thinks that he's safe taking us on because he's got that dog in him. And outside of him. 2 of them to be precise. But little does he know, my hemoglobin enthusiasts do not discriminate between man and beast. These blades are rated E for everyone. Now we're about to face the first real test of the run. 2 televangelists, a fleshy nightstand, and bacon bagpipes over here. In case you haven't noticed by now, our main strategy consists of applying bleed to the entire enemy team and then holding on for dear life and hoping they die before we do, because this team is squishy as a gamer girl mouse pad. These guys try using our own tactics against us by hitting us with a bleed, but we are too strong to be bled. And it is said that for our enemies to be led to bed, we must deliver the red to their head instead. With our bleed stacked up and our razor sharp wit, we're able to put these nerds to rest and finally reach safe harbor from the tangle. However, this game stresses me out, so I want to get on to the next part of this challenge before I have a nervous breakdown, and only spend a little bit of time upgrading the bleed team before continuing onwards. So first off, yes, this is quite an intimidating looking place, with the residents of the sprawl literally hanging from the buildings. But like any good adventurer, the first thing we do instead of helping anyone in this town is go shopping with a creepy old man that hangs out in the back of a Wendy's parking lot.
His attention is unfocused, as though he is in 2 places at once.
After a quick look through his inventory, we find that the only things that are useful to us are his old bandages and a lamp that probably started the fire that's right next to us in the building. We then piss off our tank by trading with the unwashed masses, and then commit grand larceny by robbing this pre-cooked chicken McNugget mass of one of its organs. But what happens when a bodybuilder and 2 Instagram models that have exited their primes 10 years prior face off against our team of clinically insane surgeons? If you guessed hypovolemic shock from too much blood loss, then you are a winner. And also a little messed up. Our old friends are back at it again. The televangelists have brought 2 new friends and a tan. But they're not the only ones with a new bag of tricks. While we were at the inn, I picked up a couple thunderclap grenades, which lets me get to those bad boys in the back. So now that they're sufficiently scrambled, their back line is within bloodletting blade range. And, it's open season, baby. Next up in our journey is the Great Library of Alexandria, and you can see it's on fire. How very historically accurate of the developers. On the ground level, we run into 3 ghouls from Fallout and 1 Smeagol who, instead of a ring, has a pot of fire. I've never seen Fire Pot Man before, but due to my sick gamer instincts, I feel like it's a good idea for him to not get too close to us. Since we are absolutely fearless and greedy beyond all reasonable measure, we go on to the next level, where we run into our old friend Pothead and his Luigi-esque brother, Skinnier Pothead. They mistakenly think that the power of brotherhood will save them, and are completely surprised that our power of friendship is much stronger. I further demoralize them by stealing their brotherly buffs and felling their teammates right in front of them, and even use thunderclap grenades to keep that glowing pothead away from my team. But at the last minute, I let down my guard, and he finally gets to annihilate both himself and the majority of my team's health bars, which leaves the Bleed team in terrible shape by the end of the battle. But my human greed knows no bounds, and we continue on to the final boss of the library. Thanks to my gamer instincts, I immediately deduced that this boss is both a nerd and a coward, seeing as he hides all the way at the back behind his books. I can't apply bleed to him all the way back there, so I settle for the next best thing and start bleeding his books. Or at least that's what I attempted, because upon further investigation, books have 200 bleed resistance, the highest out of any enemy in the game. Disappointed but undeterred, I did what any heroic team would do and just gave up, opting instead to let this bozo burn his own books. The unfortunate part of this strategy is that he threw the burning books at us and did tons of damage. So now we are in dire straits. Our team is on fire, which, understandably, stresses them out. This stress is further compounded by their enemy making them engage with literature in the midst of battle, which is so damaging to our illiterate Hellion that it actually kills her and causes Dismiss to have a meltdown. However, I don't blame him, because if I saw my friend die from reading a book, I'd probably be a little freaked out too. So by now, things are looking a little bit dire. The Bleed team is now the Bleed trio. Our stress is high, our health is low, we're all on fire, and our healer is one cleverly placed insult away from having a meltdown. So at this point, it's time to throw all strategy out the window and just try to burst this guy down. Well, that went about as I expected. So the answers to the questions at the beginning of the video are: we didn't get that far, the books have 200 bleed resistance, and no, doing a bleed team is probably not a good idea. I appreciate you for watching this. However, I am new to this game and it is brutally difficult, so if there is a better way to do this, please leave a comment, because I would love to actually finish this run.